Welcome to the HPTV Podcast. I'm Mitchell Marshall here with my sister, Jaime Ramos. And speaking of HPTV, we actually have the most Harry Potter TV show news in a long time.
I know.
2
Kind of
days
worked
in
out.
a row.
We were supposed to do Fantastic Beasts, but Steven's traveling for work. And so we're like, oh, we'll just do like a little update on the show. And then, of course, like in the last 2 days, it's been like bam, bam, bam. So we needed to do this anyway.
These are better than Dumbledore's Secrets. I'm just going to say it.
Yes.
We haven't seen the show yet. But yeah, Deadline just dropping bombs back to back. We've had some fun on TikTok. So if you're a TikTok person or a Reels person, go follow us on there because people say the most random stuff. Even when they say mean things, I'm like, I don't really get offended. I'm just like, you feel the need to say that on the internet?
They kept pissed at us, but whatever. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're pissed at the world, so it's fine.
We get angry about dumb stuff too with the Harry Potter stuff.
That's why we have a Harry Potter podcast. Let's dive right in. Okay, the most important thing, let's get to it. We have photographs of two main characters in costume, in makeup, presumably shooting it. We know that pre-prod has gone on. They've done some background shooting, but we know kids have been at school, have been there, maybe shooting, but probably just costuming, makeup, getting things together. So things are moving right along, and they were able to get us a picture of Harry himself and also Hagrid, our dear keeper of keys, and later, spoiler alert, teacher of care of magical creatures. Jamie, what were your initial reactions? Let's start with Harry.
Harry, he looks a lot like Daniel at that age. I mean, what are you going to do with a kid with messy hair? There was a few things, not criticisms of the child, but like choices so far. Someone brought up that his eyes weren't green, which we talked about before when we talked about the initial casting, but I think they'll do that in post. I don't know. Or not. I think it's more important he matches Lily's eyes, so whatever that means. Maybe she wears contacts. I don't know. Or they do that in post. And then that his hair's not black, which is kind of disappointing again for me.
And they can darken. Like, I feel like if you had to dye a kid's hair for 10 years, there's got to be a solution. There's got to be something to make it look a little
another
blacker.
Post thing. They made... Yeah. Poor Tom Felton bleach his hair for all those years. But it's not the end of the world. He looks great. I'm surprised how similar the robes look. I feel, and of course, they're going off the description of the books, which I'm sure hopefully is the basis for the movies and this. So maybe they're just kind of rolling with that. But it was exciting to see. And how we talked about like them doing announcements stuff, I thought it was a cute way to like signify that they're rolling in that. It's going.
I'm looking at the picture right now, and there are just a few key things that I'm like, that is so, as I work with a green screen because I'm in a new environment at the moment. There's some things I'm like, that looks so Daniel Radcliffe-y, but he doesn't look like him that terribly at 11, and he does look slightly younger, I think, but maybe it's because I haven't watched the first movie in a couple of months. The hair is messy in maybe a more authentically messy way, not like we're made to look messy. And some of those are details that aren't perfect, but if they're doable, then you should do them. And he is a dark brunette, but like sometimes I think I'm a dark brunette, you're a dark brunette, but like I'm looking at my hair right now in a camera and I'm like, that's a light enough brown. His is darker than mine, but yeah, they could have.
We feel like the messy hair looks a little unnatural to me. Like as a woman, I feel like it definitely looks like teased, but I do like the play on it. And I will say he looks so different here than from his, like the announcement photo of the trio and his headshot. So I wonder how manipulated this photo is, if at all, or just a lighting thing.
Some people were saying it's AI. And I'm like, look, it's clearly not AI, but every photograph that is put out there is Photoshop. So maybe there is some little brushing bits and stuff done. Yeah, as a guy, I have to shower in the mornings because I can't wake up and my hair look right. And I can't just add product to it. It just sticks out way too much. And so some of the like the sides just being puffy in an awkward way, I do think so. But also I don't tease my hair. So maybe you see the hair work more than I do.
But it looks fine. It looks cute. They're going to look alike because they're both trying to look like Harry Potter. So
these are the minute details we knew we were going to overlook. But again, this is not, I feel like we just need to clarify, nothing we say is against the costume designer, the hair person, or the actor. It's just like, we're just looking at every little thing.
Yes.
What really matters is how we feel when we watch the actual narrative show. The scar really far over, guys. I think that's a little inaccurate.
What does the book say exactly?
I don't know, but the naturalism is fine with me. Although you need to be able to see it. It needs to be distinct. But I'm like, maybe dead center is silly, but
I never thought it was dead center, but like a little off to the side. But it's like way over.
And it only works with the way the hair is falling right now. So
it's
maybe it's like Sonic's teeth. People will complain so much that
I don't think people care. I think you're the only one.
The robes, you're right. They are very similar. So you have white shirt, red tie with a stripe. Then you have a maroon sweater that has a gold line across the slight V-neck, black robes. So in the book, I can't even remember how specific she is because some people have wanted and there could be obviously a Gryffindor patch on there. Some people want different colored robes for different colored houses. That would be inaccurate. It's definitely black robes. As for what they wear under it, I kind of like the way it evolved over the other movies. Like you had to mix up the look. So sometimes they just had the sweaters on. Sometimes maybe just a robe over a white shirt. The robes definitely got discarded, maybe more than they should have for a fantasy show. So maybe they'll stick with them. But I think that and the glasses combination just make me feel like, oh, this is too similar to Daniel and the movies. But it's not bad. The kid looks...
Well, there's something
I'm
about
getting good vibes.
I need to look at the Daniel one, I guess, because maybe I'm just making things up in my head. But there's something about the lining of the vest that's very similar, like that gold lining on his vest underneath the robe or sweater. I don't know if that's a vest or a sweater. That's what kind of really reminds me of it. And then the tie, I don't know. It's very similar, but not exactly the same. It looks good. I just hope they define their own look for the show and we're not just doing everything the exact same.
I'm looking at one of the preview posters for the Sorcerer's Stone, and he's got the tie is striped golden maroon. The sweater is gray with a line of gold and maroon.
So maybe that's what I'm thinking.
And there is a Gryffindor patch. So they have switched up the color of the sweater, the color of the tie. We don't know if there's a patch. Otherwise, pretty similar, which is, again, not necessarily terrible. And I think because I grew up without school uniforms, there is kind of this slight variance in adjustments and everything now that I see kids in them, all the time around London. So overall, he looks good. I think they picked a good photo. He looks young, which I think is important.
Yeah, I would say he even looks younger than this picture of Daniel Radcliffe, which I don't know if that's from 1 or 2.
Let's move on to our beloved Rubeus Hagrid, Keeper of Keys at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the first, introduction for Harry Potter into the wizarding world. So we've got Nick Frost, and the first thing that jumped out to me is just kind of the openness of his face. The facial hair impedes on him a little bit less, and his face looks a little bit thinner. It's funny because Nick Frost has played a lot of roles where he's kind of a bigger guy, but he has slimmed out a little bit in age, he's slimmed in age as things have moved forward. But I like how the beard is kind of bushy in a slightly different way. It looks a little less messy and he looks a little bit skinnier, but he looks good. I feel like it almost looks not Nick Frosty enough in a good way where I'm not going to be seeing his other characters in it. But I'm like, ooh, can I see this face being jovial? Can I see this face being kind and nurturing or scary? Because he does get intimidating. But I think the big thing is this tells us nothing about his size. He's supposed to have hands the size of bin lids and trash can lids and everything. So who knows? I did think the jacket was different, but maybe I need to look at a picture.
I do think the jacket is different, and I think the shirt underneath and stuff is a bit different. I was gonna say, this is from the book. It says, a giant man was standing in the doorway. His face was almost completely hidden by a long shaggy mane of hair and a wild tangled beard, but you could make out his eyes glinting like black beetles under the hair. So that's just more how I imagine Hagrid, messy, if that makes sense. And obviously this is maybe a costume test. I don't know if they're going to mess with his hair a little bit and stuff. It looks really cleaned up to me.
I'm sure it'll change a little bit, but it does look, they wouldn't put this out if this wasn't somewhat what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah. It just looks a little too friendly in a way for me. I don't know how everyone else perceived Hagrid when they read books, but he's almost scary at first, intimidating, but then he has a heart of gold. So it's that person you don't think you're gonna love, but then you do love. So, but it looks great, and I'm excited.
Yeah, because the way his face, is just more open, and then the jacket just looks like a bit more of a trench coat. As before, it was a little more of a leather coat. He wore a lot of fur. He almost looked like he was out of a different time, which is not a bad thing by any means. But it's more like this standard one over. But it's cool. Also, these are back-to-back days, so who knows if we're going to get more, and we'll talk about that a little bit further as we go on. Just to talk ahead, we're going to talk about the casting, and then we're going to talk about some of the department heads and their work history, and then we'll really talk about what this means and everything moving forward as we have a slightly more narrowed release date. But let's go to some of the other casting. First, we have two young people. Rory Wilmot as Neville Longbottom. He has previously acted in FBI International, and he has an upcoming show called Out of the Dust. It looks like it's a 6-episode series. I do think he's a regular, and it's something about like a woman being emancipated from a religious sect. So probably nothing to do with it, but the kid's, getting in. He acted in a real big miniseries first. And then Amos Kitson as Dudley Dursley. He does not have anything on IMDb currently. Jamie, what do you think about the pair of kids? Did anything jump out to you?
No, I mean, we did discuss, I think, just last time, how Neville, that was one of the people they put out as like any race. But
we did get a white Neville.
We just got a white kid, which is great.
I was thinking if Harry would have been of like mixed South Asian, Caucasian descent, which is something people talk about, the hair would have been really black. Anyway.
But they both look great. I do think the Dudley kid does work really well with the parents. Like, I think he looks like the parents.
Oh, I haven't looked at side by side, but I see what you mean because I'm seeing a picture of him now. Yeah.
Even in his photo, he looks a little smug. Like, you want to smack him a little bit. Not that I'm going to smack any children, but
I can see him being a 4th grade bully, which is rude to say about a child. I will say one thing, like, we can't see his body, but I wonder if they're going to veer away from Dudley being really big. He's supposed to be chunky all the time. And then in book 3, they say he's wider than he is tall. And so maybe they did not want to go that direction, like getting a really big kid who then had to endure that.
It's like, I'm going to get a kid to get wider than they are tall. That's a lot to ask.
Get a kid and be like, stay this fat until book 5 when you get into boxing.
The Neville kid is so cute. And he actually, I can't think of who, but he reminds me of like another child actor that was like on a Nickelodeon show or something. But I think he looks cute. And it is like it just feels like a side character, like one of the classmates, but he plays a huge part. So
and he could have I will say, I think J.K. Rowling could have balanced his part a little bit better throughout the books and the way it emerges. It was really good. I'm absolutely picking this, but I do wonder if they'll kind of incorporate him just slightly more. Like, he's not part of the core friendship, but he's around all the time. But yeah, the kid looks good. I wonder if he'll keep this long hair, but he looks sweet. Like, they chose that crooked smile photo for a reason. And he's also, I think, supposed to be chunky and have crooked teeth and be a little bit ugly, like he gets bullied. And this kid looks cute, so they probably didn't go too accurate there. Jamie, you should be furious.
Well, again, you see those teeth. Just kidding.
Well, they used fake teeth and a fat suit for Matthew Lewis.
They did when he was younger?
When he was younger. And then I thought he looked fine because he kind of went through a gangly stage and then he's fine. And now, I don't know if he still is, but he had like a really hot era. And
the glow up.
Did some underwear ads, But anyway, as for the adults, we have Madame Hooch, Louise Brayley. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, as Madame Rolanda Hooch. I probably forgot Rolanda. She was in all 4 series of Sherlock, which, I forgot about that show. It was a delight. And she had quite a few credits, but the other one that I kind of heard of recently was A Discovery of Witches. And then I don't know, if you've seen her anything, let me know.
I have not. I really want to watch The Discovery of Witches, which I think now I can because it's on Netflix or something. It was on like a channel I didn't have before. So I do want to watch that with her in it. But I haven't seen her anything, but I think just based off that headshot, she looks great for Madame Hooch.
She kind of doesn't look that dissimilar to the other Madame Hooch, who, really only had 2 brief appearances. And then finally, Anton Lesser as Garrick Ollivander. So he is, of course, known as Qyburn in Game of Thrones, and he just finished a role on Andor, which was also just like a couple hours ago nominated for the Emmy for Best Drama. And he was also had a significant part in The Crown, which I have not seen. But this is a well-known face kind of in this genre acting thing in the last few years. And he is a classic straight British actor that I think I'm excited about.
Yeah. And I think I've seen all 3 of those with him in it. And he kind of, especially obviously in Game of Thrones, like he never plays like the most friendly characters. I like that for Ollivander because Ollivander's not a bad guy, but he has like some morally gray stuff that happens eventually. So I think it works.
So that's the casting that we had announced. Nothing got announced with Hagrid, but we did get the department heads for the production. So this is interesting in that these people really have a pretty big hand in the way it looks and feels. Now, sometimes someone can have a bad IMDb in these. They can have happened to have done, the costuming or makeup in every sci-fi movie you hated, and it doesn't actually affect things. But it's nice to see something you kind of recognize. And this is the kind of thing where you only learn the names of the absolute biggest ones, and then you still have to be kind of a movie nerd to learn any production names. But I think it's fun that we're so far ahead that this is something we can actually talk about a little bit more. So the biggest one that people would know is the director of photography, also known as the cinematographer, has a huge say along with the director, and in this case, like the showrunner, on what is the visual style of this. What are they going to do to make the movement and the framing maybe feel different from the movies, but still feel quite epic? So we have Adriano Goldman, who has worked on The Crown. That is going to be a regular thing here. Andor, so coming off of, again, really big series. And then August, I picked one random credit. He has a robust IMDb. And of course, as DOP, he's also been a second unit director. He's done many other jobs within the industry, but as director of photography, also picked up August Osage County, which is like this almost a play as a movie with a bunch of really famous people having a family argument in a house. And I really like that movie. So I picked him out for director of photography.
And he did City of Men, which is a Brazilian film, which, I mean, it's very stylized. And so he does a great job. But I highly recommend that movie if you haven't seen it. And I just watched Andor.
It's kind of clear he's becoming one of these names. And seeing two people from Andor and The Crown, it should be known those are prestige things that shot here in London. And I don't know about at the same studio, but clearly you pull from that talent pool. All right, moving to Kate Hall, hair and makeup designer, recently did Mobland. She also did a lot of work on The Crown. But you know what? The Crown, I think it's lost its touch for some people, but a lot of that was story. It was always thought of as immaculately put together. I remember The Crown and Mad Men, people are just like, no one has ever better hair, makeup, production designed another time to make it feel right and accurate. So I think if you're going to pull talent, even if you're not pulling the head, you're pulling one of their assistants and giving them a slight bump. I think that's a great thing to have.
Yeah, and she's been nominated for a few awards, and I don't know, definitely someone who's done a lot and knows what they're doing, which is exciting.
Next up, Paul Herbert, who is the stunt coordinator. And it's kind of crazy because stunt coordinators usually do start out as stunt men, sometimes as actors. And this guy, I don't know if he's been a stunt man, but it just credits him as stunts in like Titanic, Saving Private Ryan, Game of Thrones, 30 episodes of it, Les Mis. But he's been the stunt coordinator for things like Beetlejuice, A Quiet Place Day One, Pennyworth. There are a couple bad things on here. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Artemis Fowl, His Dark Materials, which was HBO's
The stunts were good.
Oh, that's true. Oh, he did Fighting with My Family, which I freaking love.
You
Nick
love
Frost
that movie.
I weirdly really do. Anyway, and I mean, that all bodes well for me because, gosh, stunts are just such a specific thing. And we've seen like a nice renaissance in conversation around stunts, partially because of the Ryan Gosling movie, The Stuntman, which was good. But they finally announced that we're going to get a stunt Oscar coming in 2027, because to me, stunt, coordinating the efforts, choreographing, keeping everyone safe, making it look cool, and also making it productive towards the storyline. I don't mind a movie once in a while that just has a cool fight or a cool chase to have it, but in Harry, things have to look good and feel magical. So I think it's important, and I think that's an underrated element of production. So he looks
good.
And
famously, in a Harry Potter movie, a stunt person was permanently injured. So even though this is like a children's show, technically for a good part of it, like it is very serious and it's important.
And also worth noting, if you haven't heard of it or watched it, there is a documentary about that stuntman and the life he's continued to lead and how Daniel Radcliffe is stuck by him. And I need to watch it. I haven't actually seen it, but it's been on my list for a long time. And then Mark Holt, special effects supervisor. Did you see anything on him, Jim?
So Mark Holt did In the Heart of the Sea, Aladdin, and he just listed as special effects. I guess he just did The Sandman, the TV series. He was the supervisor, but he's worked on Wonder Woman 1984, and he did Zack Snyder's Justice League. Not my favorite. Paddington and Peru, which I love all the Paddingtons, and then A Quiet Place Day One. He's done a ton. Barbie, he was a special effects supervisor on. Someone else from one of these other people did Barbie too.
That's interesting because I think you want someone who has quality history, but I don't know how much decision making he'll have. It's really, that look is going to be such a collaborative thing. I'm looking next at the production designer. So if you don't know, production designer is the overall look, literally the sets, the costumes, the castle, that all falls under production design, but it's the actual physical space. And if you're doing a period piece, it's like the phone that's there. Like, yes, it's a props department, but it's all under the production designer. What is a wall going to look like? And I think there's some really fun ones from the movies that stand out. And that's where I think that they could still differentiate themselves. So this is Mara Lapierre-Schloop. What a great name. She's been an art director or in the art department for some great stuff, Django Unchained, but she has actually been the production designer most recently for Interview with a Vampire, which is on iPlayer if you're in the UK. It's on AMC Plus, but it is really fantastic. And it starts out in New Orleans and then it moves to Paris. And it's actually really location specific. And it's really about you feeling immersed in kind of like this very morally gray vampire era. And so that is hugely encouraging for me. She also did Pachinko, which is a well-regarded Apple show. Jack Ryan, a little bit of a different vibe, and The Alienist, another period piece. So to me, a really cool, list of credits there for Mara.
And a lot of different stuff. And she won a couple awards for Django Unchained. I think Guild Awards.
It's funny. I like Django and I need to rewatch it because it came after Inglourious Bastards, and I just had to remind myself that I think I liked Inglourious Bastards so much just as a movie, and even though I do like Quentin Tarantino, I needed to get out of the mindset that everything needed to be better. Sorry, this is very random aside.
No, you could talk about Quentin Tarantino to be all day, and Inglourious Bastards, one of my favorite movies all time. Is peak.
Next up, we have Naomi Moore, who is the set decorator. Again, very important stuff.
She just did Deadpool and Wolverine, did Dungeons and Dragons, which I never saw. I didn't see that.
It is quite fun, actually.
28 Years Later, which just came out. She was a set decorator on there. The Witcher, which has some similar maybe vibes to Harry Potter. Probably not as dark. A Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, a good amount. But it's nice to see all these people have like recent pretty big credits on things.
John Nolan, next up, is the creature effects design supervisor. And I mean, the big one, Jurassic World Dominion, which is not the one that came out a couple weeks ago, but the last of the kind of first Jurassic World trilogy. He also worked on The Witcher. He worked on Carnival Row and The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, and Mary Poppins. And so I think that's a great look at like someone who has a ton of experience, but I think that kind of leaves him maybe with something to prove, because this is, Jurassic World is Jurassic World. Maybe I need to watch The Witcher a little bit closer. I only watched the first 2 seasons and everything, but like Harry Potter has some unique things. Like the hippogriff is described, the elves are described, but you kind of have some wiggle room with how you want those creatures to look. The mandrake, like there is something to be said where these can look really special and differentiate themselves from the original. And it's weird that his name's John Nolan, because I think of Jonathan Nolan. Next up, Alexis Wajbrot.
Which is interesting. I'm pretty sure this is the one who worked on some of the Harry Potter films.
That feels, I don't know.
Uh-oh. Crossing over.
I don't think that's appropriate.
He did Thor Ragnarok. He did Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince he worked on, from what I can see.
I hope he was very junior, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Why?
Because I don't want someone who's like, oh, here's how we did it before, let's do it. Oh,
I don't think he will be, though. I mean, look how good the visual effects are in those movies, though.
You're right.
They still hold up.
You can't go wrong with someone who's trying to make it look at it. And he could also be like, oh, I want to be a part of, like, I have a bigger role in making it look better this time around, or different this time around. All right, next up, another VFX producer is Dom Sidoli. Recently worked on Wonka, The Flash, which is not a great thing. Wonder Woman 1984, also not good. Pacific Rim Uprising, this is just getting worse.
Mockingjay Part 1.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Damn it.
He worked on the Hogwarts Express. I don't know what that video is. That the like way down in 2014?
Oh.
And so also some Harry Potter stuff.
Star Trek Beyond. I mean, look, he's just the producer. We know we're not going to hold this all against him. All right, and then previously announced was Holly Waddington, which makes me really think of Hannah Waddingham.
When you said that.
That's what.
But she just did Poor Things, which...
That's kind of cool because it's... Poor Things is obviously very abstract, very different Yorgos movie.
She's an Oscar winner from that.
Oh, well, that gives me hope, but she obviously didn't try very hard with the robes. She's done Lincoln, Warhorse. Some of these she's assistant, some of them she's head. Clash of the Titans. Yeah, she's got a great history. I'm sure she'll do fine. But hey, it's my right to be concerned. I can't just say, oh, this show is going to be bad because one of the VFX supervisors worked on something with bad VFX. Like I feel like I said that before, and then I went again. I kind of contradicted myself.
Well, it's like, at least these are quality people, experienced people. There's probably a lot of reasons for people to say no to doing this series. Yep. It's a long commitment. Hopefully, they can always change these roles out as they go. Happens a lot in TV.
They almost definitely will, but for season 1, probably not.
Yeah, and it tells us they're taking it seriously. They're starting off with a bang. So let's go.
All right. So let's talk about, this is definitely, it's officially been announced that this is going to be a 2027 release, which is not surprising. We look at something with VFX, with a long shooting schedule that said 2026 late or 2027. Let's just hope it stays in that front half of 2027. I'm trying to think of when big shows drop, and I would say we're probably going to be looking at a March or May, where, they may save it for the summer, but if they do save it for a holiday drop, I think that sucks. That's really far away.
We got a lot of podcasting to do.
The other implication is that it's going to be an 8 to 10 month shoot, which is not surprising because even the movie was like a 6 to 8 month shoot. So you're really just adding a bit. No one has officially said anything about the episode count, which I don't know if they have to yet. And the other thing, and this is all rumor, but just that it seems like they're not going to quite shoot this and season 2 back to back. But here's what they can do. They can't shoot season 1, do post, do all the promo, release it, wait to see how it is, because then these kids will legitimately be 3 years older and look possibly 5 years older. So,
which is hard because that means HBO has to invest in this being really good and going forward with it. I'm sure ideally they would like to shoot, release it, see how people respond, and then continue on. Where did we read, or was this a leak? I don't know if you call it leak, by Nick Frost. They're shooting 10 to 11 months.
That was not.
Is that true?
I think that was in a Deadline article that was the expected time, but I don't have it in front of me. It's not in the Deadline article I'm reading at this moment, so maybe that was more of hearsay. But that's not crazy for a lot of movies take a year to shoot. Yeah. Now there's tons of different reasons for that and elements to that for sure. But
yeah, well, and they're working with kids. Kids can only work so long. There's a lot.
Life, but I think they got to shoot 2 pretty quick. Give everyone a little break. And
very short break. These kids, they're going to age so fast.
Yeah, they are. It's almost scary. It's like we just saw that picture of that kid. If they finish shooting 1 year from now, if he shoots those scenes 8 months apart, he could look really different in them, Yeah. Puberty is a bee.
And the rumor going around is that there's 6 episodes per season, which we're really hoping that's not true.
If they had to do it for the first and second, I would kind of understand. But legitimately, if 4, 5, 6, and 7 are 6 episodes, I think that is a disturbing because then for Deathly Hallows, you're essentially doing an extended edition of the movie. Anyway, I'm fuming about it. What I'm curious about is if they're going to keep releasing these photos. These were literally back to back, but I'm like, even if they would have done like one a week for a few weeks or something, I am just curious if we know more casting is come out soon because they're actually shooting. Because in production and shooting, principles of photography can kind of mean 2 different things, but we kind of know sets are going and filming is happening. So I wonder if they'd rather just get that information out there. So we'll certainly get more casting, but will it be accompanied by more pictures? I don't know.
And how much do you give away before people see it?
These things can change. Like if we see the show and Hagrid never wears that jacket, I won't feel lied to,
Well, lighting and coloring and all that does so much to a show, I guess. I was going to say movie. Yeah. It could look completely different. So,
and the environment, we just talked about all those studio heads, like what they do is going to affect absolutely the tone. Even if Harry was played by Daniel Radcliffe's AI clone, you could still make something feel completely different, to be fair. I don't think they will. I don't think they're veering insanely away from what the movies did. That's just my gut feeling.
Yeah, it's just going to be hard because it just looks so much like the movies. It's just going to prove everyone's point of like, why do it? But we're getting so much more context for what's going on. We're going to see a lot more things happen. Hopefully have like things the way they happen in the book.
If the show is coming out in 2027, then it stands to reason they will be done shooting this time next year. Now, there's going to be a long post on this, which we want. We know that post has been rushed on a lot of Marvel and Star Wars projects. And I think saying this, we don't want them to push too much on the post. I would say around this time next year, we'll definitely have a poster. But we could only be a month or two away from having a teaser, even if it's just a really short little sequence. Maybe they'll try and do it sooner to drum up excitement. That happens once in a while where you see something way, way in advance. But I think about the way that HBO drip fed promotional information around Game of Thrones, and I'm very curious how they do this one. But yeah, that's what this timeline is to me. That 1 year from now, even though we've already been podcasting for 6 months, 1 year from now, we could have maybe a teaser trailer. Woo! Whereas I think we were hoping maybe a Thanksgiving or a holiday drop.
I was hoping they did that image, but I was hoping for a little teaser trailer and that like announcing that the series is going to happen, but that never really came. It just that
something like that could have where they have like the new typeface and maybe a bit of music.
Yeah.
I would even take if they took a transition of music, like from old to new. We'll get something like that, but it's going to be interesting. Also, when they drop this, because there's times when shows traditionally drop and do well. It's curious, yeah, because a lot of Netflix shows drop before a holiday, which traditionally network TV never did because people were busy. But then Netflix was like, yeah, people are busy, but they're also home a lot. And in this case, we are. We better get a week-to-week drop. I will.
Oh no, yeah.
I will be furious if they drop this all at once. There's no way.
I don't mind if there's like a couple episode drop at the beginning. You know how I think Hulu does that a lot, where you can like get into it to pull people in and then.
I think,
but yeah, I'm not.
Rather than
I would binge this all in one day.
I would almost do we'd have to for the pod, for the people. I almost think they would do a 90-minute pilot, and get us to Hogwarts, and then take it from there. But I almost want to see that a passage of an episode, like 2 45-minute episodes, turning over. It sounds so silly, but seeing the credits and then starting a new narrative, even if it's a mini narrative within an episode, of Harry having to live through the Dursleys for multiple episodes, I actually think does a lot for the story and gives us a better idea of his character. Anyway, who knows? I'm wondering what streamers feel is the best time to release these shows, whether it be around a holiday, whether it be in big movie season, not in big movie season. January is, almost out. That's a dump time, but I think they'll go somewhat traditional with it. We're going to get this either like in a May, maybe September, but that feels so late. That would be bad, I think, in my opinion.
Hope spring really bad. It's just don't. It's
too
long to make you wait.
These kids are going to outpace the age at some point, but the question is by how much? Because if they shoot 17-year-olds as 20-year-olds, it's actually not the worst thing in the world. Because if you think about a lot of movies, you have teenagers played by 30-year-olds. So if they're 20 playing 17, and we've known them since they were 11, it's not going to be a big deal. But
I think the big leap is going to be, and which naturally would happen in Harry Potter, but probably from season 2 to 3, that's where we would see that leap in the books of kids looking a lot older and going through puberty. But I'm just worried that's going to happen 1 to 2. Again, not the end of the world. And I will say the movies ended up pretty good. The age of the actors.
The last thing I want to ask you about is on the slate. It's got Harry in bold and then Potter in thinner levels. I do not think that's going to be the marketing thing.
No.
But is that going to have anything to do with anything? That's kind of specific. You think it's just random?
I don't think it's random. It might be their production font. That might be on the cover of the scripts and stuff right now. But I think it will be refined into something different.
You know what I haven't looked up, but I'm sure I've seen in some random leaky article or something, is what's the code name? Because every show, in every movie, have a code name while you're referring to it. And it's usually something silly. I wonder what the code name is for this. But now everything says Potter. The scripts are protected. The real question is the Devil Wears Prada 2, which is going to happen, is that going to be about them getting an early screener of the Harry Potter TV show?
Is that going to be I literally watched that movie yesterday, so that's really funny.
That's random. So Devil Wears Prada is on West End right now as a musical, and it's a pretty mixed bag when you convert a movie to a musical. Vanessa Williams is playing the main role. Miranda, is that her name? Or
Miranda Priestley is Meryl Streep's character.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's playing her, but I've heard mixed things.
Can't go see it now.
You're
homebound.
I know. I'm missing All the big movies. It's killing me. Anyway, yeah, Devil Wears Prada, Harry Potter crossover. Whoever would have thought? Anyway, we're going to keep up with these, obviously. So if they keep announcing these, I'm giving them quick reviews on TikTok as soon as they come out, if I can. And I've been able to for the first couple. So give us a follow on TikTok and Instagram at HPTV Pod. You can email us at any time at HPTVPodcast@gmail.com. And email us about anything you want to come on. You have a strong opinion, but obviously comment, interact, give us a shout wherever you're at. But we'll continue to react to these, even if we don't do a full podcast on them. Otherwise, the next episode will be The Secrets of Dumbledore, the end of our rewatch of Fantastic Beasts. And if you want to hear us rip into Crimes of Grindelwald, please go check out the last episode. Jamie, did you have any other final thoughts on casting, production, progress, or the future of HPV? Steven would have enjoyed that.
Take care, pills. I don't know. I'm very excited. I actually got emotional when I saw Nick Frost as Hagrid for many reasons. Being people in costume and that's actually filming, just like giving me a lot of hope. Like I'm excited to see the books put onto screen. It also made me sad. It also makes me miss Robbie, and it makes me like more like saying goodbye to the movies. Not that they won't exist; they're always going to be there. So don't complain, people. You can always go watch those, but I don't know. It's a mixed bag. So I'm excited there's movement. It's far away, but I'm glad we're here with the podcast, that we've been here since the beginning and that we get to like dissect this stuff. I actually went back and listened to our first episode the other day, and it's funny, like already like what was heard and like all the people that we thought were going to be cast that were not cast, like how much has changed already. So like I'm excited that we get to dissect this all. I think if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably ignore a lot of this because I would just want to like see it as a whole. I'm excited for the little things like the scar looking more natural. I'm excited for like, I don't know, to see the robes and all that kind of stuff. So
that's what we get to do on HPTV. For a second there, I thought you were going to say when you saw Nick Frost as Hagrid, you thought he was hot, but I'm kind of glad you didn't because that'd be weird. But then Isaac would know exactly what to be for Halloween.
Isaac is dressed up as Hagrid before and I have a photo. But Hagrid is not a thirst trap for me, but I love him.
Not yet. Anyway, also Jamie made a really cool TikTok or Instagram, both, I don't know, where we essentially she said Nick Frost was her choice and he was on my long list, but you nailed it. And so you've like dated it and proved you're like, I called it. And now we've seen him in costume and I thought that was really well done. But we're excited for every little tidbit that comes up, and that's the fun of doing this. But yeah, thanks for joining us here on the HPTV podcast, and we will see you next time. Jamie, send us away.
Peace out, snitches.